Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. It's all about the whole health way. And of course, no one better to talk about it than the owner herself, Susan Lunning, who's back with us today. How are you?
Oh, I'm really great. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited, as usual, to be here. But I really made a power move yesterday afternoon. I signed up and I enrolled to be a transcendence facilitator. And, I don't really know what all this means right now, other than the fact that this is going to be a great gift for me to enhance my health and well-being. With our coaching, we get to have a vision for our health and our well-being because we are human beings. And our love and relationships and vocation. What? And time and money freedom. So these are the things that Sherry and I have been collaborating on for a while,
Awesome.
And it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. And Sherry got to share at the very beginning when I started these wonderful podcasts about, what her life was like before coaching and what it's been like since. And I'd really love to have Sherry take it away, and Jill ask her all sorts of questions. She is such a wonderful resource for so many things. And she has a wonderful life to share. And I would love for the lines to be opened up and, anything that anyone wants to ask. Sherry's the gal because she knows the rest of the story.
Well, first off, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, or good morning, depending where you are. Sherry Line joining us again. We got to speak a little while ago, but not here in person. We're live on Zoom as well as the podcast. So please introduce yourself, Sherry.
Well, I'm Sherry Lyon, and I'm a student, I guess you could say, of Susan's. And I've been in the Life Mastery and Dream Building programs. And it's because I wanted to reach my goals in life, and I needed some help with that, some guidance. And she has been a wonderful teacher and mentor and given me guidance. And I think when you're ready to do this with your life, to change it, I didn't want to be stuck anymore. I didn't want to be in the victim mentality of poor me, poor me. And I wanted to get my life to the point where I can start helping others, and everything just will start to look a little better, I guess, in life, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. Tell us a little bit. I heard your website's up and running.
Yes. I've got a weird life, I guess. I was born and raised in Iowa, and as soon as I got done with college, I moved right out to Chicago and began working in banking. And I had my father passed away, and so I moved back to Iowa to help my family, to my mom. And I thought, well, I'm tired of corporate America. I'm going to go back to my roots of farming. I'll start an organic chicken farm. That'll be easy. That was a big mistake. It's not been easy, but it's been very interesting. It started to grow, and I had a ton of clients, and I could not keep up with the demand for just the organic eggs. And then I had the meat birds as well. I was probably 5 years into it, and I got diagnosed with leukemia, and then I had liver failure and some major health issues. So I had to sell everything off. But I did keep a few of the birds as pets because I couldn't get rid of them. And during all this, I discovered that chickens are just like cats and dogs. They have personalities. They're very loving. They're quite smart animals. And I just fell in love with them. And so after I recovered from some of my health issues, I decided to get involved with the recovery of rare breeds.
Wow.
So I also discovered that some of my birds had a disease that is similar to leukemia in humans. And they developed tumors, though, in their bodies, unlike humans, we have in our blood. And so I could see them suffering, and I didn't want to see these chickens feeling that way. I mean, I could relate. So I decided to go back to school, get a doctorate in avian disease research. And my life goal then is to, I guess, cure chicken cancer. And hopefully some of that will go over into the human side and help others, with human cancers. But what I did is I started using alternative therapies with my own chickens to see if it would improve their health. And my veterinarian was amazed. There were some chickens that I shared my chemo with them, and I titrated it down to their size. But I also started using like alkaline water or Kangen water and CBD fluid and all these things that people typically probably wouldn't relate to a healing methodology in anything. And my chickens started living longer even after they were diagnosed. And so my vet is like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I don't know how your chickens are even still alive. So, so I get so excited talking about the chickens and the disease that I kind of get off track. So I apologize.
No, it's great. We need the backstory. We need to, this is fascinating stuff and work that you've accomplished. And
Yeah.
now you're having the chickens live longer too, a better quality of life. And yeah, you're right. That can roll into the human aspect of things. I mean, that's how it all starts, right? With the animals.
Right.
And then, so fantastic. What else do you want to share about yourself, Sherry?
I think, I hate to say this, but I guess Susan has helped me learn to be proud of some of the accomplishments that you make in your life, even though they may not be like Oscar winning or Grammy winning, but just overcoming certain thoughts about yourself, even to get more confidence, not to be arrogant, but to be confident in what you're doing and to enjoy your own life is something that's really made a big difference for me. I guess if you want me to share my whole life to show where I was at, my father was actually murdered, and it was a pretty bad situation. And the trials and the court and the legal system, everything went on for about 10 years before everything was settled. And the man that killed him ended up getting out of jail. And so there was a lot of anger in my life, anger, grief, a lot of negative energy around me. And I got sucked into that. Oh, poor me. I'm a victim. Why did life happen like this to me? Things like that. And I started to work on myself and started to get out of that rut. And I'd met a gentleman and we were going to get married. He got killed. I cannot make this up. Same thing. It's been unsolved with his death. It's just been a very, very strange situation. And it was within a year after his death is when I was diagnosed with leukemia. And from that, the chemo they put me on, it caused my liver to fail. And I was on death's doorstep, and I was at the Mayo Clinic. I was at all these different hospitals around the nation. And they said, we can't do anything for you, and we can't get you a transplant in time to save you. We're going to make you comfortable, send you home, get everything in order, and we'll keep you comfortable. I came home and I had no will to live. At least I didn't think I did. But I started doing like organic juicing, and I had friends that are into alternative therapies and energy healing. And they said, we're going to fight for you and we're going to get you involved. We're going to help you. And they had me doing all these weird things I'd never done. And I called it voodoo, healing and such. And within 6 weeks or so, going back to my liver specialist, he's like, I don't know what's going on, but your liver is functioning again. And I don't know what's going on, but you're recovering. And I just continued to do what I was doing and got into the energy healing and positive thinking. And they still today can't believe I'm alive. And that was 5 years ago. So then after that, that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to use my background, my experiences, and use it towards animals and other people. And you get to a point where it's very, I think for a lot of people, it's very difficult to remain positive. And you start going down that rabbit hole of, well, if this hadn't happened, I would be at this point in my life, I'd be so much further ahead. And that's where I was at when I met Susan. And again, you have to get the confidence back that you deserve good things in your life. You deserve to be happy. Everybody has bad things happen in their life. It's just a matter of how you respond and how you handle it.
Mhm.
And that's what Susan is really, really, she's been through so much herself. And I think that's why I was drawn to her, is she's been through things herself and can attest and relate. She can really understand. You know, you have people around you say, oh, I understand. I feel so bad. I know how you feel. No, you don't. You have no clue what I'm going through. You've never been through anything like this. Don't give me your advice, because it only makes me angry. And that's what Susan has also helped me learn to do, is turn my anger into a positive emotion and use it to propel me forward with what I want to do. I guess I don't exactly know. There's just so many things that all of a sudden have changed with my thought process. And when I changed my mindset, I had to let people go in my life that I had had my whole life, and discovered they serve no purpose. They kept me in that perpetual cycle of negativity and dragged me down and introduced me to other people just like that. And so I've had to change my circle of influence. And that's made a difference too. And the activities that I'm involved in. And again, it's who you surround yourself with, that I can't even stress how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah.
You know, people, you've seen them a certain way your whole life, and then all of a sudden you start to see them in a very different light and realize, oh, this wasn't good for me. They kept me down where I shouldn't, where I don't need to be. I'll stop now. I'm sorry. I could just go on and on.
No,
Jill, do you have any questions so far?
no, you have been, I mean, I'm so sorry for your losses, but I also love that. I believe in energy work. I believe in positive thinking and mindset. And thank goodness for those friends who believes in you while you're giving up, and anything really is possible. And for someone like you, who's been at death's doorstep, it's like, now is your time to be the best Sherry Lion ever. And clearly Susan is one of those people to help you be your best Sherry Lion. And so it's amazing how you two connected, because everything happens for a reason as well. And here you are now helping others and helping animals. And it's just a beautiful story. So I appreciate you sharing all of that. And just curious about, I know we spoke a while ago, but let me ask you about the connection with the two of you. How did you two meet and then start working together? Could you share that again?
Do you want to explain, Susan, or do you want me to?
I'd love for you to.
Okay. Actually, Susan had another client who is a very, very good friend of mine.
Oh.
And I could see all these great things happening for her. And all of a sudden, you know, some things changed. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, at first she kind of hemmed and hawed, and well, I don't want you to think I'm weird, or I don't want you to think this is, you know, silly. But I have this kind of a life coach, and she's helped me with the way I look at things and the way the verbiage of the way I say things, and just, you know, I'll give you her information. And so I got a hold of Susan. I filled out an assessment. We had an initial intake, and it clicked. Susan and I just instantly, it's like we're long lost relatives or something, and just very, very comfortable right from the start.
Yeah, and lots of fun. You know, we've had lots of fun with all this too. And, you know, I have this statement that with what you just said, you know, my heart is so full. But my statement is, the best act of self-love is to find someone who understands you and who's in your life to help you to ease your burdens. I am the one who is able to willingly come alongside you to lighten your load with empathetic love and compassion. I can help you to find the information you may have been looking for a long, long time. Information that you will be able to bring out into the light of a very, very bright future. And we're in this together. We always were, you know, so I just believe that, you know, I just really vibrate. I have a meditation practice that I do for to attract the vibration or the avatar of the client that I would love. And then Sherry came along, and so have all of the others.
Wow.
And so it's kind of a unique way of marketing, if you will. And like Sherry said, she just went through this whole process. She had doctors telling her, that this is it. Go home, get your things in order, be comfortable, and this is it. And you know what? They were very, very, very smart people, but they were not evolved enough to understand the expansive part of the human being, because we're spiritual beings having this human experience. And when you're using spiritual practices to enhance health and well-being, that's what works. You change your thinking. You have the scaffolding images, and you understand that every thoughts become things. Everything's created twice. And I may have shared my story that I have in my book, Short, Sweet, and Sacred. And, those feelings of that constant shame, anger, not feeling worthy, that's playing this movie in your subconscious, and you're really not aware of it. But that's what communicates with your higher self into the universe. And then you just get more of that. And it's expressed in our physical, our bodies. Our bodies shut down because they aren't, our chakras, our energy centers aren't functioning healthy. They're not spinning healthy. And it's all about the thoughts. If somebody tells you something, for an example, I was told when I was young that, I was really quite stupid and I wouldn't amount to anything. And so as a little girl, 7 years old, and I'm going to be 59, I took that information and made it mine. And so everything that came up to me supported that. And then of course I continued to have relationships and be in situations where I thought I was getting better, but I really wasn't, because I was pleasing them for my worth. And as much as I could do, it was very conditional, and I had no idea about these wonderful practices that are out there to serve us. And, Sherry's doctors were very, very good, but they can only take it so far. That's why it's important to have the whole health way, with the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual piece, because it's all connected, and that's what makes us. And until we address these pieces as the whole person, it's going to be disjointed. And then there's a specialist for this, there's a specialist for that. It's all disjointed. And then here we are thrown in this process, and how do you advocate for yourself? You don't even like yourself. You don't feel good. You don't have energy to do anything. And then you have these people in white coats telling you it's over. And so that was for Sherry, because she's got a beautiful purpose inside of her. And what's inside of her is so much greater than the conditions and the circumstances that were presented to her. And so this is how her story goes, because she's going to go on and get her avian disease doctorate. And she has been sought after recently, when she was making these changes. So her thoughts and she got her website going, and all of these things. But, we have these paradigms, these self-limiting beliefs about ourselves and our world, and that we nourish them a lot. Why does this keep happening to me? That's our familiar way. And that's what we will always lean over to when things get tough. We know it stinks, but we go there anyway. At least we know what it's like. But this stuff out here, this unknown,
Yeah.
that's where the fear is.
Mhm.
And that's what stops us. And we want to have fear, but we just don't want the fear to have us, and the fear to be in the driver's seat of the decisions of our lives.
Wow.
And so step by step by step, we can do this. And if we focus on our now, we look at our past, that's where we get depressed. We look at our future, that's where we have anxiety. And the transformation really happens, and Sherry knows this. It's in the moment. So when you have that thought, or you have that trigger, whatever it is, you notice that. And then you take those deep cleansing breaths to reset your nervous system. And you think, what would I like to create right now? And then you do it. She's probably heard this 3,000 times,
Mhm.
you know, but it's simple, it's repeatable, it's proven, it works if you work it. But sometimes we get so distracted. I need to be reminded to breathe. I can get myself all in, in a way. And so that's why we were not meant to do this alone. Okay. We are meant to have a structure of support, accommodate and navigate through this thing called life.
Yeah.
So she's just done very, very well. She's really done the best that she can with where she was at with what she had, and that's all she could do.
Yeah.
But I encouraged her to contact me and share her heart and be authentic. And that was the funnest part. People are so afraid
Yeah.
to, don't want to interrupt your weekend and don't want to do these things. But what's really unique is when these things happen, it's never convenient, ever, never convenient. And that means that it's up for release and repatterning in that moment. And if there's something I could do, say, or be in that moment to shift that energy away from her, then that's what I want to do. That's what gives me life. It's just like taking a vitamin supplement when
Yeah.
I eat her, because that builds up my immune system because I'm living my purpose. So
Just
this
to point
is
out, the lines are open. If anyone does have any questions for Susan and Sherry, 631-317-1291, 631-317-1291. Feel free to call in and ask anything as well. And just to point out, and it's thewholehealthway.com. And Sherry, your website is?
thetrendychicken.com.
Okay, good. Let's continue. We still have some time. Go ahead, ladies.
Yes, and I would really love for you to share, Sherry, about the interviews that you've had recently and just what's going on in the state of Iowa and what's going on and how her dream and where she's at is so perfect right now for all of us.
Oh,
In Iowa, we're having, it's the avian bird flu has come in, and it's been contracted in some of the big commercial flocks, and they're having to euthanize the entire flocks. And that's millions of birds, millions of chickens. And they, my name got out there somehow because I have a hobby flock, a backyard flock. And I got asked to do local news, and then it got out to Chicago, and WGN News wanted me to speak. And I'm just getting all these people contacting me now, asking me, well, how do small hobby, chicken farmers, how do you handle this? And are you scared? And it's just fit right into everything I'm doing, because that's, I want to focus on disease prevention in birds. And I have these really rare breeds. And again, that's about a year ago, they got a disease, and I introduced a new bird to them from someone else. And even after quarantining and following all the procedures, these birds, all my rare breeds died. I lost all of them. It was financially devastating, and they're my pets. It was, spiritually, emotionally devastating. And since then, I've, put in some more biosecurity measures and speak to other people about what they should or shouldn't do. And it's just now becoming sort of a mission of mine to save these breeds, because they're so unique and so endangered. And, one thing is people are learning how transmissible the bird flu is to your, neighbor's chickens or something. And
Mhm.
it's bringing awareness and education to some things that I find that are very close to my heart. So I guess that's the thing is, and people are asking questions about, oh, how can you get these breeds, or what do you do to save them? And mine are from Belgium and Indonesia and all around the world. And so it's it connects me around the world. And I've got people around the world that I speak to about this, and veterinarians down in South America. And
Wow.
it's just, to me, it's amazing how small the world really is. And you can come together on so many things,
Oh,
like
my
chickens.
goodness, like chickens. Yeah.
People laugh, but it actually opens up the door to a lot of
Yeah.
interesting things.
It really does. And she does educate people on chickens, and she holds them and she talks to them and she has fun and she dresses them in funny little outfits. And she's just, it's really quite a soap story. It's hilarious. But I'd love for you to, I know we're running out of time, Jill, but I would love for
Okay.
Sherry to talk about what your vision is for creating a habitat, if you will, for chickens, and kind of duplicating that and creating an opportunity. You share that?
Yeah, I'll just follow up on what Susan said is, yes, I'd like to create a kind of a sanctuary for people to come where they can just relax, let go, almost like a center, and they can come and do meditation. They can just be with animals and just be, and let go of their stresses and enjoy themselves and just kind of slow down for a little bit. And I think animals are such a great way to do that, and nature. And so that's in the long-term goals as well, to set up a center like that.
Like a habitat, and having grants and being attracting the grants to, because you even talked about some kind of a modern hospital
Yeah.
or a habitat for them to, when have an area for like a sick area for the sick birds, and being able to have like this hospital kind of a hub. What was it, a habitat?
Well, I'm looking to build a new facility and actually several buildings. And then whenever something is sick, it has to be quarantined. And so I want to have like a sick wing and, different areas.
Sick wing, no
and
pun. Got it.
Exactly.
The wings.
nice catch.
It was cute.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, if I'm sure you've picked up on it, and the listeners have too, and I know we're ready to go, but you can see how Sherry's life has come full circle, and her with the animals, and with energy healing, and with changing. If you don't change anything, you're going to continue to get the same results. So when you change your thinking, you change your feelings and your actions and your results. And that's what Sherry did. She's done the work, and it shows.
Proof that it's possible. Yeah. Sherry Lyon, thank you.
Thank
Susan
you.
Lunning, thank you.
Thank
Tell us
you.
how we can reach you both, please.
thewholehealthway.com, and you can schedule a consultation if any of this has resonated with you, and we'll have a visit, just like Sherry and I had, and she filled out a questionnaire, and we had our time on the phone, and we really talked about what the next step would be to help serve her in living a life that she loves living.
Beautiful. Thank you. And how can we reach out to you guys?
Sherry, your website?
Oh, thetrendychicken.com. And then I'm on all social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, etc., as The Trendy Chicken. So,
And why is it The Trendy Chicken?
because I want to keep up with current trends and educate people on what's happening and what's, kind of cool with chickens. So
Beautiful. And
All right.
Susan Lunning, thewholehealthway.com.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for being here, for joining us. As always, we appreciate it, and great conversation. And thank you again for sharing your story again. Sherry, thank you for your help, Susan, and looking forward till we meet again. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online radio box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.